Nowadays, the NBA All-Star Weekend is polarizing for both players and fans alike, so much so that the 2026 All-Star Game was noteworthy for one of the saddest reasons, that a lot of people actually liked it, contrary to what most basketball fans had expected beforehand.
Spread out. Oh, for the win. He's got it! Scotty Barnes! And look at Victor, he is so...
It was around the early 2010s that interest in the All-Star Weekend as a whole started to wane, when high-profile players began declining the opportunity to participate in the dunk contest, and no one in the All-Star Game wanted to risk injury, leading to low effort from most involved, particularly on the defensive end.
Teammates guarding each other. Okay, Ja Morant.
Back in the 80s and 90s, though, the All-Star Game was highly regarded as something that the basketball community looked forward to. This is because the games were still competitive, with each team legitimately wanting to win the contest, and every player doing their best to receive the honor of being named the game's MVP, as it signified that they, at the time, were the best of the best. One player who took the All-Star Game seriously was Charles Barkley.
Oh, this is unbelievable. 24 great players here, and I'm one of them.
By the end of his 16-season NBA career from between 1984 and 2000, Barkley was a guaranteed Hall of Famer, having solidified his legacy with career averages of double-doubles, countless iconic highlights, and a variety of honors to his name. Amongst these achievements, he was named an All-Star 11 times. However, he'd only end up playing in 9 of them due to injury. Whether he actually played or not, though, Barkley always regarded being named an All-Star and participating in the event one way or another as a legitimate honor because it didn't come easily. It wouldn't be until his 3rd season in the league that he had received the recognition of being named to an All-Star team. And, shockingly, despite Barkley's larger-than-life personality and his popularity in the wider basketball community, when he did finally make an All-Star game in 1987, he wasn't voted in by fans as a starter. Rather, he was selected as a reserve by the Eastern Conference coach, Celtics official Casey Jones.
Playing in his first NBA All-Star game, the dynamic forward of the Philadelphia 76ers, 6'6", Charles Barkley.
The following year's game, Barkley was again overlooked by fans, but still made the Eastern Conference roster when he was picked by the team's coach, Mike Fratello, from the Hawks. However, despite Barkley's eagerness to play in the game, his performance on the night was underwhelming. In 15 minutes of play, he got a block and a steal, but he also only scored 4 points and grabbed just 3 rebounds while making 3 turnovers and committing 2 fouls.
And Charles Barkley just doesn't appear that he has his head in this ball game for whatever reason.
Finally, by the time the 1989 All-Star Game came around, Barkley would be voted into the contest as a starter.
Appearing in his 3rd All-Star Game and making his first start, the scoring and rebounding leader of the Philadelphia 76ers, Charles Barkley.
And although he wouldn't be able to participate in every contest, Barkley would then go on and be named an All-Star as part of the starting lineup for the next 8 seasons. Understandably, with Barkley being one of the most widely known and beloved figures in the basketball community, his All-Star jerseys have proven to be valuable. As of June 2026, it's unclear what happened to Barkley's All-Star jerseys from 1987 and 1988. Presumably, he got to keep his 87 one as a memento of his first ever All-Star game. In June 2024, Barkley's jersey for the 1989 game went up for sale on Gray Flannel Auctions. Technically, it was sold as game used, not game worn, meaning that it was an official jersey produced as a backup for the contest, just in case they needed to replace the first one if it happened to get damaged. But the jersey had enough wear to suggest that it may have been worn, possibly in-game. Ultimately, even with the uncertainty as to whether the jersey had been game worn or simply game used, it still sold for just over $12,500 after 15 bids. Like with Barkley's 87 and 88 jerseys, it's unknown what happened to his jerseys from the 1990 and 1991 contests. Though, given that Barkley was the MVP of the 1991 All-Star Game, he almost certainly got to keep that one.
Congratulations on being the MVP amongst all of these great stars.
From between 1987 and 1991, while representing the 76ers as a member of the Eastern Conference, Barkley was able to wear his usual number at 34. However, in the years that followed, whenever he represented the Western Conference, he was unable to have that number. So he decided to use the opportunity to pay respect to a variety of people who helped him become an All-Star in the first place.
Rebound to Willis, stolen by Magic on a rake job. It's a 3-on-2. Magic sends Barkley to the right side, a no-look pass to Barkley!
Dating all the way back to his early years playing basketball at Leeds High School in Alabama, Barkley always wore the jersey number 34. Although he's never expressed any great meaning behind the choice, he stuck with it all throughout his college career at Auburn University, representing the Tigers from between 1981 and 1984.
There's the lob to Barkley, and he lays it in and is fouled on the play by Hart.
And he kept the number when he joined the NBA after the 76ers selected him with the 5th pick of the 1984 draft. Unlike most teams that get a top 5 pick, Philadelphia hadn't actually had a bad season leading up to the draft. Rather, for the 1984 playoffs, they had finished 3rd in the East after winning the previous year's championship when they swept the Lakers in the finals. Though, despite their success just 1 year earlier, for their 83-84 campaign, the 76ers would be eliminated in the first round by the New Jersey Nets 3-2 in a best-of-5 series.
When Albert King tapped in his Otis Birdsong rebound, he sent the Sixers home for the summer. An amazing achievement, dethroning the defending NBA champions, beating them 3 times on their home court.
The reason Philadelphia had a top 5 pick was because it wasn't actually theirs, at least not originally. It had initially belonged to the Clippers, who had finished with just 30 wins for their 83-84 campaign. But because of a trade way back in October 1978, the 76ers owned the pick, after they sent World B. Free to the then San Diego Clippers for the future selection. So, unlike most top draft picks, who typically get paired with promising young talent coupled with aging veterans, Barkley instead teamed up with multiple future Hall of Famers in Moses Malone, Julius Erving, Bobby Jones, and Maurice Cheeks.
I'm just glad, that I'm playing with the Sixers. That makes it easier because we were winning. I'm glad I'm not playing for a team that's in last place if I was a rookie.
The combination of Barkley and the veterans saw the 76ers finish the 84-85 regular season with 58 wins, after which they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 1985 playoffs, where they matched up against the Celtics. Though, ultimately, Philadelphia lost the series 4-1.
With a big steal as the Sixers were trying to call timeout. It is over. The Boston Celtics have won.
While the 76ers would remain competitive for the next few seasons, they struggled in the playoffs, unable to make it past the second round if they even managed to make it that far in the first place. Then, for the 91-92 season, the 76ers struggled, so much so that they would only end up with 35 wins, missing the playoffs entirely. With the team struggling, Barkley pushed for a trade, which the team eventually honored in June 1992 when he was sent to the Suns. Ultimately, Barkley wouldn't be the last ever player to wear the number 34 for the 76ers. Rather, it was Terry Cummings after he signed with the team in September 1997. But his time in Philadelphia didn't last long, as he was traded to the Knicks just a few months later in February 1998. In the end, despite leaving under acrimonious circumstances, the 76ers would end up retiring Barkley's 34 jersey number in March 2001. But it wasn't the only number that Barkley ever wore while representing Philadelphia. For the majority of his last season with the team, he wore the number 32 for a very important reason. In a press conference on the 7th of November in 1991, fellow future Hall of Famer Magic Johnson announced that he had HIV, a virus that attacks the body's immune system, that had already killed hundreds of thousands at the time. Magic stated that he would retire immediately, bringing an end to his career that saw him deliver 5 championships to the Lakers in 1980, 1982, 1985, 1987, and 1988, after the team had selected him with the first pick of the 1979 draft. Just a few days after Magic's announcement, Barkley revealed that he planned to switch from his usual number of 34 to 32 for the rest of the season in honor of Magic, and to raise awareness of the HIV crisis that was gripping the world. Initially, Barkley's decision proved to be somewhat controversial for a number of reasons. First and foremost, the number had already been retired in honor of 76ers legend Billy Cunningham. After attending the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, representing the Tar Heels from between 1962 and 1965, Cunningham was selected with the 5th pick of the 1965 draft by the 76ers. All up, he'd spent 9 seasons in Philadelphia in 2 separate stints. First, from May 1965 to August 1969, when he left the NBA and joined the rival league, the ABA, signing with the Carolina Cougars. Then, after 2 seasons, Cunningham rejoined the NBA, re-signing with the 76ers in September 1974. Cunningham represented Philadelphia for 2 more seasons before officially retiring in October 1976, after playing just 20 games during the 75-76 season. Months later, in December that year, the team retired Cunningham's number. 10 years later, Cunningham was inducted into the Hall of Fame in May 1986 as only the 4th member of the 76ers to receive the honor at the time. While Barkley had gotten Cunningham's permission to use his number for the 91-92 season, Barkley hadn't actually bothered asking team officials if the move was okay before announcing his decision to the media. The team soon gave him permission to use it, but they made it clear that they weren't fans of the fact that Barkley had publicly announced his idea for the tribute to Magic before talking it over with them. Beyond the drama around Cunningham, some in the media speculated that Barkley was just doing it as a publicity stunt and slammed him for ostensibly trying to make Magic's personal tragedy about himself. Predictably, Barkley responded to the accusations in his usual blunt fashion.
Folks on the call-in shows have been very vocal in their criticism of you for doing this.
You really think I give a flying what the people on the radio call say? Thank you.
They say that Magic's not dead yet, and Billy Cunningham's number is retired. So why can't you leave it alone?
I really don't give a what they say on the call-in shows.
I'm just asking the question.
I'm just giving you an answer.
I'm just asking the question. I'm not talking about the call-in shows. I'm just asking the question.
It's not about the fans. It's about a friend. I really don't give a flying well, you can't say flying I really don't give a FF what they think.
12 years from now, after your numbers retire, would you have a problem with someone doing a similar thing with you in that circumstance?
No problem. People are stupid. I mean, for them to make a big deal out of this is ridiculous. This is nothing. This is just about me and Irvin. It's not about anything else. I don't have time to play in the mind games with people. I don't give a time to get to worry about getting criticized. If people like it, that's good. If they don't,
I got all the bleeps I need.
Fittingly, the first game Barkley wore the number 32 for was against Magic's arch rival, the Celtics, and their franchise player, Larry Bird.
There's Charles Barkley wearing number 32, his tribute to Irvin Magic Johnson. It is the first game that he is wearing number 32, and he will wear that number for the remainder of this season. Nice gesture by Charles, nice gesture by
Billy Cunningham as well to allow that to happen.
Barkley also chose to wear the number 32 for the 1992 All-Star Game. For the contest, Magic was voted in by fans, despite having already retired from the league. Magic eagerly accepted the invitation to participate, and with the opportunity to put on a show for NBA fans one last time, Magic made the most of the unexpected opportunity.
6-5, three-pointer,
In the end, Magic was named the MVP for the game, after leading the West to victory 153-113, scoring 25 points, dishing out 9 assists, and grabbing 5 rebounds. As for Barkley, for the contest, he scored 12 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, and had an assist in 28 minutes of play. As it would turn out, Magic would actually return to the NBA in January 1996, when he came out of retirement, re-signing with the Lakers. All up, he would play 32 games in the regular season and 4 in the 1996 playoffs, after the Lakers were eliminated by the Rockets in the first round 3-1 in the best-of-5 series.
Ceballos brings it in play to Johnson. Loose, Drexler the steal, and this closes the deal.
In March 2004, Barkley was inducted into the Suns Ring of Honor, the franchise-specific award that celebrates prominent players and employees of the team. At the time, the honor meant that Barkley's number was all but officially retired, with it being removed from availability. For the ceremony, a number of NBA legends spoke about Barkley, one of which was Magic, who, although he never mentioned Barkley's 32 jersey, echoed back the respect Barkley had shown him years earlier.
Thank you for giving me that honor of playing with you, and I just want to say may God continue to bless you, man, and you've been my partner, my friend, and I look forward to doing more things with you. Congratulations on the Ring of Honor.
Strangely, despite the historical significance of Barkley's number 32 jerseys, that is, that they are relatively scarce, that they were worn by a future Hall of Famer for their last season in Philadelphia, and done so in honor of Magic Johnson, at least one of them is sold for a shockingly low amount. In December 2024, Heritage Auctions sold a signed game-worn road jersey for the relatively low price of $2,400. However, a few months later, in May 2025, Heritage Auctions also sold Barkley's jersey from the 1992 All-Star Game, which was signed twice, once on the front, then again on the back for significantly more, just over $22,500. Evidently, Barkley's experience honoring Magic via his jersey number led him to use jersey numbers to pay respect to those around him who, whether directly or indirectly, helped him achieve the levels of greatness he did during his time in the NBA. Given that Barkley played in the NBA for so long, it's not surprising that he has numerous strange stories about his time in the league. In February 2015, Barkley spoke with Sports Illustrated, during which he revealed that he once accidentally played a game while drunk as a member of the 76ers because he and his agent thought that he'd been traded to the Lakers. 3 years later, in February 2018, Barkley appeared on the talk show Jimmy Kimmel Live, during which he elaborated on the story, leading it to go viral.
Me and my boys went out to celebrate. We started getting drunk in the middle of the day. My agent called me back about 3 hours later. He said the Sixers pulled out the deal. I don't remember anything about that game.
Was that the only time you played while intoxicated?
No.
Had Barkley gone to the Lakers during the 91-92 season, he would have been the centerpiece of a rebuild, as fellow future Hall of Famer James Worthy would have been the player that Barkley was exchanged for. Conversely, when Barkley arrived in Phoenix, he joined a championship-caliber team who had just won 53 games in the previous season. Though, ultimately, despite having a decent regular season, Phoenix would lose in the second round of the 1992 playoffs against the Blazers 4-1.
And that's going to do it. Portland advances to the Western Conference Finals against the Utah Jazz.
Realistically, the Suns hadn't had to give up too much to get Barkley, as the centerpiece of the deal was Jeff Hornacek, who was a good all-round player who had just been named an All-Star. But his role with the team was easily filled by Dan Marley, who had also just been named an All-Star for the first time for the 1992 All-Star Game. In retrospect, the Suns' 92-93 season would prove to be Barkley's personal best campaign in the league, so much so that he was named the 1993 season MVP.
Your season this year is a role model for an MVP season.
Understandably, when the Suns made it to that year's finals, where they matched up against the two-time defending champions, the Bulls, Barkley was still confident that he'd finish the season with a ring.
God want us to win the World Championship.
I don't know if I go that far, Charles.
I talked to him the other night.
And Barkley remained confident, right up until the dying seconds of Game 6 of the series.
Here's Paxson for three! Yes! The Bulls take a 1-point lead, and Phoenix calls for time with 3 9/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
When the 1993 All-Star Game took place, back in February that year, Barkley was still in the midst of his newfound success in Arizona. And he felt that he had one man to thank for all his good fortune, the Suns' general manager at the time, Jerry Colangelo. Barkley had stuck with the jersey number 34 when he joined the Suns. But at the time, the league was strict about jersey numbers for All-Star games. Specifically, each player had to have a unique number, like in an official contest, hence why, for the 1990 contest, Patrick Ewing and Scottie Pippen had to wear the numbers 3 and 30 respectively, because Bird already had the usual number of 33. So, Barkley couldn't wear 34 like he had for all but the 1992 All-Star Game, because fellow future Hall of Famer Hakeem Olajuwon already had 34, which he'd been wearing while representing the Rockets for the Western Conference ever since his rookie season, beginning with the 1985 All-Star Game. In fact, the only time Olajuwon didn't wear the number was in 1991, when he missed the contest altogether due to an injury back in January that year. In addition to not being able to wear 34, Barkley couldn't simply pay respect to Magic again either, because Karl Malone, who'd end up being named the game's co-MVP along with his teammate John Stockton, already had the number 32. So, for the 1993 All-Star Game, Barkley chose to wear the number 23 in honor of Colangelo. Prior to becoming a league official, Colangelo had hoped to make it to the league as a player. During his college years at the University of Illinois, Colangelo had represented the Fighting Illini between 1960 and 1962, where he was regarded as a noteworthy but far from exceptional player. Still, Colangelo eventually made it to the NBA in 1966 when he joined the Bulls as an official, working as the team's marketing director, a scout, and an assistant to the president of the team before he was hired as the Suns' first ever GM when the team joined the league in 1968. When Barkley realized that Colangelo's college number was 23 and that it was available for him to wear for the 1993 All-Star Game, Barkley decided that it was a fitting way to pay respect to the person who he had to thank for all his current success. For the contest, Barkley scored 16 points, dished out 7 assists, snatched 4 steals, and grabbed 4 rebounds in 34 minutes of play as the West won the game 135-132. To date, it's unclear what exactly ever happened to the game-worn jersey. Presumably, it was given to Colangelo. But in June 2025, the game-used jersey from the contest came out for sale with gray flannel auctions. Surprisingly, despite also being signed, the jersey only received 12 bids before selling for just under $11,500. If ever Barkley's actual game-worn jersey from the contest comes up for auction and the sale is heavily promoted, it'll likely sell for well into the tens of thousands, much like his 1992 All-Star jersey did.
Just strength against strength. And Charles said, "Get it out of here, young fella."
Although Barkley was voted into the 1994 All-Star Game as a starter by fans, he'd miss actually participating in the contest due to an injured knee, which he sustained just weeks before the game in January that year. Ultimately, Barkley would still end up playing 65 games for the 93-94 season and 10 games in the postseason before the Suns were eliminated by the Rockets in the second round in 7 games.
At the Houston bench, Elijah Wan, yes, and it counts. And that will do it. The Houston Rockets on their way to the Western Conference Final.
For the 94-95 season, the Suns still remained a powerhouse. And with the Bulls no longer dominating the league after the three-peat from between 1991 and 1993, now that their franchise player Michael Jordan has retired back in October 1993, Barkley seemed to have his best chance to win a ring. However, in the end, the Suns would finish the 94-95 season with 59 wins, just 3 victories less than their 92-93 campaign when they had made it all the way to the finals. But ultimately, Phoenix would again be eliminated in the second round by the Rockets in 7 games.
For the second straight year, the Rockets have knocked off the Phoenix Suns coming from behind 3-1 to eliminate the Suns.
Back when the 1995 All-Star Game took place in February that year, the Suns were considered by many in the basketball community as favorites to win that season's title. And for the 1995 All-Star Game, Barkley wanted to pay tribute to someone else who he felt was a big part of the team's success, someone who Barkley felt didn't get the credit they deserved, his teammate Elliot Perry. After attending the University of Memphis, representing the Tigers from between 1987 and 1991, Perry joined the NBA when he was selected with the 37th pick of the 1991 draft by the Clippers. Perry would only briefly play for the team though, for a total of 10 games, before they'd waive him in November 1991, and he immediately became a journeyman. By the time Perry joined the Suns in January 1994, he'd bounced around the NBA for years, even falling out of the association between 1992 and 1994, during which he bounced around the minor league, the Continental Basketball Association. But when Phoenix gave Perry a chance to prove himself, he well and truly made the most of the opportunity, especially for the 94-95 season, as he established himself as a reliable reserve on both ends of the floor, so much so that he would come in second for the 1995 Most Improved Player Award, losing out to Dana Barros after Perry went from being a little-used role player to consistently scoring around 10 points, dishing out 5 assists, and snatching almost 2 steals in around 24 minutes of play. As a journeyman, Perry would wear a variety of different jersey numbers over the course of his career. For the Suns, he wore the number 2, which Barkley had initially intended to wear for the 1995 All-Star Game. But the number had already been taken by Kings franchise player at the time, Mitch Richmond, who would go on and win the MVP award for the contest.
Congratulations to the All-Star MVP, Mitch Richmond.
Thank you.
Alternatively, Barkley opted to pay tribute to Perry in 2 different ways. Perry was known for wearing long socks, which was rare at the time, so much so that he ended up with the nickname Socks. So, for the 1995 All-Star Game, Barkley decided to wear the same type of long socks that Perry did. He also chose to wear the number 8, as the contest would be the 8th All-Star Game he'd play in, with the number serving as an indirect tribute to the various unsung role player teammates that he'd had over the years, like Perry, because Barkley knew he couldn't have made it to a single All-Star Game had it not been for their help.
The socks are for Elliot Perry. He's been the reason why we had the best record in the league, and I want to reward him. The number 8, I wanted to get his number, but Miss Richmond has that because Akeem took my number because he's rude.
Presumably, Barkley would have selected the number 9 in reference to the fact that the 1995 contest was the 9th time he'd made the All-Star Game. But that number was unavailable because of another of his teammates, Marley, who had already claimed it. In the end, the West won the contest 139-112, with Barkley scoring 15 points and grabbing 9 rebounds in 23 minutes of play.
Slowly, but has come on very strong, and certainly one of the many factors leading to the good play by the Knicks as of late. Elijah Wan able to hang and get away with it.
In total, Perry would end up representing the Suns in 2 separate stints, though he'd never replicate the personal success that he saw for the 94-95 season. In September 1996, Phoenix would send him to the Bucks, after which Perry again became a journeyman, bouncing around the league before re-signing with the Suns in December 2000. This second stint wouldn't last long though, as the team would waive him in January 2001, after which he concluded his NBA career by signing with his hometown team, the Grizzlies, on a 10-day contract. To date, it's unclear whatever happened to Barkley's game-worn 1995 All-Star jersey. Presumably, it, along with Barkley's game-worn socks, after a thorough wash, ended up in Perry's possession as a fitting commemoration of Perry's standout season in the NBA. Even if Perry can only remember bits and pieces of it, because it was also the season when he fell victim to an elbow from Karl Malone in November 1994.
Perry, who got laid out, unconscious. Karl Malone throws the wickedest elbows in the NBA, and Perry never knew what hit him. 10-minute delay where they tried to bring him back to this world, knocked unconscious, overnight observation, he was carried off the courts. He is right now in a Utah hospital.
Even though the Suns had an impressive 94-95 campaign, then lucked out in the 1995 draft when they found a late first-round gem. After selecting Michael Finley with the 21st pick, the team would finish the 95-96 season with just 41 wins. They were then eliminated in the first round by the Spurs, 3-1 in the best-of-5 series.
The Phoenix Suns eliminated from the playoffs. Charles Barkley may or may not be back with this team next year.
Understandably, Barkley was frustrated and doubted that the team were still capable of competing for a ring. Now that he was in his early 30s, Barkley didn't want to squander however many years he still had left in the league while still performing at a high level. So, in July 1996, Barkley demanded a trade, specifying that he wanted to go to a contender. Reportedly, he even threatened to retire if Phoenix didn't trade him. Both Barkley and the Rockets had mutual interest, and the following month, he was sent to Houston. Ultimately, the Suns' 95-96 campaign wouldn't just be Barkley's last while representing Phoenix. This season would also see the last time that he'd actually play in an All-Star game. Again, because his future teammate, Olajuwon, also made the team, as a member of the Western Conference, Barkley had to choose a different number from his usual 34 for the event. For the contest, Barkley chose to wear the jersey number 10 in reference to the fact that it would be his 10th All-Star game overall. Like with the 1995 game, the number was an indirect tribute to his various teammates over the years, highlighting that he never would have been named to a single All-Star game, let alone 10, had it not been for all the role players whose often overlooked contributions on the court consistently helped him look good.
Can't do it any better than that. Timeout, Ron Rothstein. You're liable to lift the roof off this one.
For what would be his last ever All-Star contest, Barkley's performance was underwhelming. All up, he played just 16 minutes, during which he scored 8 points and dished out just 1 assist while committing 2 turnovers and a foul. Also, the West lost the contest, 129-118. In January 2017, Barkley's game-worn jersey from the 1996 All-Star Game went up for sale with SCP Auctions. The jersey was also signed twice, yet, strangely, it only received a single bid, though that offer was just over $10,000. Presumably, given that it received just 1 bid, the sale wasn't heavily promoted, and if it went up for sale again, it would sell for significantly more, especially because it's the last ever All-Star jersey that Barkley would ever wear.
He leads the West in the All-Star balloting. The 1991 All-Star Game MVP, playing in his 10th All-Star Game from the Phoenix Suns, Charles Barkley.
While Barkley would be voted in by fans as a starter for the 1997 All-Star Game, the contest was hit with a series of injuries to major stars, one of which was Barkley, who had sustained an ankle injury in late January that year. However, Barkley still ended up being a big part of the 1997 All-Star Weekend, despite not actually playing in the game itself. Although the 96-97 NBA season marked the league's 51st campaign, the association chose to celebrate its first 50 years throughout the season.
For this historic 50th anniversary, the NBA authorized the Highland Mint to create a limited edition coin to commemorate the NBA Finals.
One of the biggest ways the league celebrated the anniversary was by naming the 50 greatest players to have represented the association in its first 50 years. The league's commissioner at the time, David Stern, announced the list in late October 1996. And for the 1997 All-Star Game, the league used a halftime break in the contest to honor its top 50 players in its history, with 47 of the 50 individuals in question being there in person.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the court and welcome the 50 greatest NBA players of all time.
At the time, 11 of the 50 players were still active, one of which was Barkley.
From the Philadelphia 76ers, number 34, Charles Barkley.
Even after he retired as a player, and he could no longer use jersey numbers as a way to pay tribute to others, Barkley still went out of his way to pay respect to people who contributed to his NBA career, whether directly or indirectly. When he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in September 2006, he chose Colangelo and Moses as presenters for a ceremony. And back when Barkley had his number retired by the 76ers in 2001, in addition to Magic, the ceremony was attended by a number of other NBA legends, including Bob Lanier, Bill Russell, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. During his speech, Barkley made a point to personally thank the players for paving the way for him to make it to and thrive within the league. Because, as great as he was, Barkley always knew that he didn't and couldn't have done it alone.
I can never thank the guys who paved the way for me enough, ever.
You can't say flying fuck. I really don't give a FF